You are now listening to the Highly Evolved Podcast. You can find this channel on Twitter, Gab.ai, BitChute, and Minds.com. This is a Real American Patriot channel for Real American Patriots. If you're not a Real American Patriot, please exit the channel. Furthermore, we are not sponsored by any outside interference. That means we're unscripted, unrehearsed, and unedited. With that being said, transmission will commence momentarily.
How you guys doing? Welcome to the HighlyEvolvedPodcast. My name is Stefan. You can find me on Minds.com, BitChute, Twitter, Gab.com. Most importantly, like, share, and subscribe on YouTube because we're writing this until the wheel fall off. On today's news, guys, I want to bring out to you what Donald Trump did, executive order, right? This is the big news. He did an executive order to make all the executive branches to be cooperative with the Department of Commerce about the citizenship questions. All right, let's read the story together. All right, let me put this out for you. Give me 1 second. I know your time is very precious. Thank you for listening to me because without you, there wouldn't be a channel like this. All right, here you go. Here's the headline: Trump's not backing down in an effort to count citizens amid a census fight. Announces executive order is going down, guys. He's not backing it. All right. President Trump speaking in the White House on Thursday announcing that he would immediately issue an executive order to get an accurate count on the non-citizen and citizen in the United States. A measure Trump said that would far more accurate than relying on citizenship question on the 2020 census. Because right now it's too late because they're already beginning to try to print this out. And the court said, look, he didn't lose in the court. What Justice John Roberts said is that right now we put it on hold right now. Right, we will not include this on the 2020 census, but if you could provide with better explanations, we could put it in the next census. But that doesn't do any good because we need the census right now, right? So basically, the reason why it's being held back right now because there's a lower court dispute right now that hasn't come out yet, right? And the verdict haven't came out yet, so they can't make it. So the Supreme Court can't make a decision on it because the decision hadn't been made on the lower court yet about this question. All right, this is why there's so much red tape. People are not there's all these hurdle that President Trump had to go through. All right, because there's cases in the lower court that haven't been determined yet. That's why the Supreme Court hadn't taken it up yet. All right, and because of that, he said he had to come back with a better reason to do this. All right, so what this is considered a win for the Democrat, which is nothing. All right. It's not a lose at all because it's saying to come back for it. It could still be in the census later in the future. All right, but because of that, because of all the red tape and hurdle, Trump, the only thing he could do is opposing the executive order, right? So there's other way of getting the numbers. They don't have to answer the questions. That's what people don't fail to realize, that Trump could get this number by doing an executive order without asking the questions. All right, the question is not going to do it because the thing is, when you do the executive orders, it's going to get the whole a more accurate count. All right, that means you're going to get the count from Social Security, Department of Health and Human Services. All right, what else? The Department of Motor Vehicles. Right, because a lot of these states are giving out driver's license, especially California. Right, and what else? All these other bureaus. All right. That illegal immigrants are benefiting. HUD, all right. So because of his executive order, they had to work with the Department of Census, and to give them a better idea of how many people are in this country. All right. But let's continue with the article. The move would make use of the vast federal database and free of information sharing among all federal agencies. Concerning who they know living in the country, Trump said. Today, I'm here to say we are not backing down. Exactly. That's a strong leader. Strong leader don't back down for anybody. In our effort to determine citizenship status of the United States population, the president told reporter that the Rose Garden are slamming far-left Democrats seeking to conceal the numbers of illegal aliens in the midst. Exactly. Because they don't want this number out. All right, because if they have this number out, that means it shows you that the people that they're representing, these Democrats, they're representing non-citizens, and you're not supposed to represent non-citizens. You're supposed to represent citizens. All right. when you representing non-citizen, that means majority of these congressional district have to be redrawn. All right, these people are not supposed to represent these people. That means if the congressional district had to be redrawn, that means the Democrat lose representations, and that's what gives the Democrat power is representations. This is why they're so adamant of not including that question in the census, because it discouraged people, especially non-citizens, from taking the census. When it discouraged them from taking the census, that means all their voting bloc will not participate. When their voting bloc are not participating, right? That means the population decreased for their district. When the population decreased for their district, there's no need to have them in power. So basically, they lose seats. That's the purpose. This is why they're so scared. It takes power from the Democrats. It takes power away from the Democrats. That's the whole point. And the Democrats know about this. All right, but let's continue. All right. We will leave no stone unturned, Trump asserted. He called illegal opposition to adding a sensitive questions on the 2020 census. A meritless bet said the ongoing judicial morass in several federal district court made it logistically impossible to resolve the matter before 2020 census form need to be printed. Exactly. So basically, he's saying it's not gonna make it time for the form to be printed out. That's why he's doing the executive order. All right, it's not enough time. It passed the deadline because the court decision passed the deadline. That's what it is. Speaking after Trump, Attorney General Bill Barr said the information collected via the executive order could be useful to determine the making of electoral colleges. Exactly. So it is used to determine the power of California, right? So they're not supposed to represent illegal aliens, right? They're supposed to represent American. When how am I say this? I said this earlier. All right. It's all about representations. The fewer representation you have, it also affects the electoral college. All right? Electoral college determine the representations. And that's what people don't understand about electoral colleges. But let's continue, right? Electoral college appointment, right? Executive order could be useful to determine makeup electoral college and congressional appointment. Right, exactly. That's why they're so stubborn and not want this question to come out, because it will expose the Democrats. That's what it is. The Democrat will be exposed. The information will be used for countless purposes. For example, there are current dispute over whether illegal aliens can be included in appointment purposes. We will be studying the issue, Barr said. Census counts, which by law include illegal immigrants, which by law, let me read that one time. Census counts, which by law include illegal immigrants, have been used to determine the allocation of seats in the House of Representatives for the next 10 years, and the number of electoral effort each state electoral colleges and distributions, sum of $675 billion in federal funding. Exactly. This is why they don't want that question. When they have that question, it can reduce participants, because they want people to participate. If fewer people participate, especially in the state of California, they reduce their federal funding. So it's also have to do with money. So California would get less money. If you don't go to California, they're broke right now. That's why they're adding all these taxes. All right? California is broke. That's why it's so highly taxed over here. All right? The Census Bureau own experts have said requiring information about censorship would discourage illegal immigrants from participating, leading to less of accurate counts. Exactly. It only affects the Democrats. All right, it's not going to affect Republicans, because the Democrats have been monopolizing this whole population for the longest. Right. This is why the popular vote is always in their hand. That in turn would redistribute money and political power away from many cities led by Democrat, and immigration tend to cluster. Exactly. It would drive away power from the Democrat, their stronghold. This is why they're so adamant, and they don't want to say it, but it's true. Barr also agreed with Trump that the Supreme Court decision last month poses a insurmountable logistical but not legal barriers to ask the citizenship question in the census. The government also have stated that the lengthy and expensive process of reprinting the census questionnaire without questions. All right. So basically, it's impossible to go back to it since the thing's already been printed out. All right, it's gonna be a waste of money. So what they're gonna do is they're gonna take the number from each bureau. All right, they take all the intelligence from each bureaus, each departments, and add them all up, and they included the upcoming census and statistics. So within 6 months from now, we'll get a estimate of how many people are in here, how many people are legal, and how many people are illegal. So they're gonna get that number, and it's pissing off the Democrats. Additionally, Barr slammed media reports that the White House would issue an executive order in an attempt to illegally force citizenship question on the census. So they've been lying. The media have been lying because this is not what happened. Because the media think that Trump is going to force that question on, but Trump gave him a left hook. When they think Trump did a zig, he did a zag, right? They think that he's going to force that question on, but really Trump did not force that question. He just did an executive order to force the department to work with the Department of Commerce to get that real number. So there's multiple facets of getting the real numbers, not just by the. All right, let me say this again. There's many ways of getting numbers without asking the questions. That's what it is. He could get the numbers from the Social Security Office, Department of Health and Human Services, hospitals, right? Because a lot of these anchor babies are born by non-citizens, so they can take from this. Because when these non-citizens fill out the birth application, they can put, "Oh, I'm a non-citizen. I'm a legal alien." So that's where they get the numbers from, all right? So that's how they can get the numbers without asking the questions, and that's really pissing off the Democrats, all right? And what's that? Yeah. So and it goes back to the saying that they think Trump was doing one thing, but this is a total left field, total 360 against the Democrat. They didn't expect him for doing this. In the hysterical mode of the day, Barr said media outlets speculate that Trump simply would just add the question to the census unilaterally, which he did not do. He didn't even ask the question. He did a different turn, and a different thing. This has never been considered, said Barr. Many Democrats promptly characterized the president's move as retreats and condemned the news conferences. Others vowed to consider the challenging an executive order in court. President Trump is so intended to intimidating community of color that even when the court of rule of law thwart him, he still tried to persist in his ham-handle ways. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. This guy's a joke. Chuck Schumer. Clown world order. Say that statement. The president retreated, adding a misguided citizenship question in the census, along with overdue and is a significant victory for democracy. No, it's a victory for him. You guys still lose. It's a lose-lose situation for Democrats. And far representations, every person must be counted. No one should be intimidated by the president and his capricious behavior. This guy don't know what he's talking about. He's an idiot. Donald Trump just won. They just try to play it out that they didn't affect him, which it really did, because they did not expect Donald Trump did this move. Donald Trump did not ask a question. He did not force a question in citizenship. He just did a U-turn and go the other way. He's still going to get the numbers. What matters is the count. This number right here is going to expose the Democrat. How many? They can say it's 12 million illegals, which is a baloney. It's more than that. I'm going in the figure of 60 million illegals is in this. All right. If any, 60 million plus. It might be hyperbolic for what I'm saying, but hey, you can never be too. It's better out to estimate it higher than for you to estimate it lower. All right, it's 12 million. It's not 12 million illegals in there. Right? I'm gonna say 60 million. That's my. Well, leave your opinion? How many illegals is in the United States? But I say it's about 60 million plus. Reacting to the news, Reacting to the news that the Trump administration would not ask a sensitive question on the census, Elizabeth Warren equipped in a town hall, wow, he's going to follow the law. This idiot. This woman's a ridiculous woman. This librarian right here. Trump had emphasized his aspirations as at the situation earlier in the day at the White House conference, focusing on social media censorship of conservative. We spent $20 million on census, Trump told attendee. They're going through the house and going up. They're ringing doorbells. They're talking to people. How many toilets do you have? How many desks do they have? How many beds? What is your roof made out of? The only thing we can't ask is, are you a citizen of the United States? Isn't that the craziest thing? Of course, that's crazy. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't understand that. Department DOJ spokesperson Carrie Kopech told Fox News that Trump is alternative path and the legal fight over the sensitive question. Right? So Trump is I think he won. He's still getting what he's wanted. What Trump really want is not the question. What Trump really want is the data. All right, how many illegals is in here? That's his ultimate end game. Ultimate point is to get the data, not the question. Who cares less about the question? You want the data. That's what the question shows. The question, when you ask the question, it shows you the data. So since he can't ask the question, he'll get his data by other means. The Supreme Court held that Secretary Ross responsibly including the census question in 2020 decennial census would provide the most complete and accurate system information, but invalidated his decision to include that question in other grounds, Kopech said. She added, Department Justice agreed with the Supreme Court decision today. Executive order represents an alternative path of collecting the best citizenship data now available, which is vital to inform the policy making and numerous other reasons. According to the department, will promptly inform the court that the government will not include a sensitive question in 2020 census. Yep, they will not include, but they could get the data elsewhere. That's what they don't understand. Kristen Clark, executive director, president lawyer committee on civil rights under law, which is a challenge of the citizenship question in court, told Fox News she had grave concern about the administration continue to dodge pursuit of citizenship information and what appeared to be improper, discriminatory, unconstitutional uses. Of what? Is within his power. How is it unconstitutional uses? Is it within his power to control the executive branch? This is not the judicial branch. This is not the legislative branch. When Donald Trump is in charge of all the departments, he gets to choose who he want to fire, he gets to choose who do he want to fire and who do he want to hire for this position at the Department of Social Security, Human Service, HUD. That's his power. It's within his domain. What is this woman talking about? There's simply no legally sound basis that would have. She's trying to scare people. That would have allowed Trump to make the end run around the Supreme Court. What do you mean end run? That's within his power. It's within his jurisdiction to do so. All right? It's called executive branch, executive privilege. This woman's stupid. Decision to blocking citizens' question on the census. Clark said, I'm prolonging this battle. The administration has sown chaos and confusion. To you, you're chaos and confusion. We will use every tool in our arsenal to police the administrative should their executive action violates constitutional and legally protected rights. No, it's not. It's within his own rights to do this. Woman is ridiculous. The president have said last week that he was very serious considering executive order to try to force the citizenship inclusion. Earlier Thursday, ABC News first reported that Trump would back down from the effort of adding a citizenship question in 2020 census and instead vowed to take executive action by instructing the Commerce Department to obtain the estimated U.S. citizenship through other means like getting data from other departments. That's why he did the executive order, and that's within his power. Multiple sources confirmed that reports of Fox News. Trump administration has faced numerous roadblocks and adding the question beginning with the ruling of the Supreme Court temporarily barring its inclusion on the ground that the government justification was insufficient. The court challenged the reason given that the Justice Department wanted the question to better enforcing the Voting Rights Act. Chief Justice John Roberts joined the Supreme Court. 4 more liberal members of the last month decided and was openly skeptic about the justifications. Yeah, he's the one that's holding everything back. This guy's a larky, man. Justice John Roberts. He was appointed by Bush. He's a part of the swamp. A federal judge on Wednesday also rejected the Justice Department plan to replace the legal team fighting for inclusion a day after another federal judges in Manhattan issued a similar ruling saying that the government cannot replace 9 lawyers so later in the dispute without satisfactorily explaining why. Trump administrative have given conflict signals on the subject, initially planning to print out Congress's form without the sensitive question, and then renewing the push to include it. Trump has offered several explanations for why he believed the question was necessary in including a once-a-decade population count. Of course, I think it's very important. This question is very important. I agree with Trump. We need it for Congress. For districting, you need it for appropriations. We are the funding, where the funding goes. How many people are there? Are they citizens? Are they not citizens? You need it for many reasons, he told the reporter last week. And that's the end of the article. Right. And basically Trump got what he wanted. I think he don't want the questions. I think what he really want was the data. And that's what matters. Data is very important, guys. Why do you think Google and YouTube all want your data? Right? Your data means a lot. This data could determine how many people get represented, how many fundings get offered, how many power get distributed, how many electoral colleges get distributed. That's what it's all about within the data. All right? And that's ultimately, and that's ultimately the end goal. And I think Trump achieved his end goal by implementing this executive order to get the data. It's not the question. The thing with the question lead to the data. All right? The question lead to the data. But there's more than one way to get the data. All right? So he can use executive power, telling all these branch of government to give the data to the Department of Commerce. And it's a win-win for Trump, and it's a lose-lose for the Democratic Party. Because at the end of the day, the Democratic don't want you to know the real number. All right? They don't want you to show the real number. But let me know what you think. Leave your question below. All right? Leave your question below. You think Trump won? You think Trump didn't win? All right? I think Trump won. But because of what I'm saying, YouTube don't want to monetize my channel because I'm unscripted, unedited, unrehearsed. That means I can say what I want without being bothered by any outside interference. All right? Because of what I'm saying, I'm not taking any donations. Because the point of this channel is to get people to think for themselves. When you think for yourself, that's my incentive for you to think for yourself. Because when you think for yourself, you're not affecting me. You're affecting yourself. All right? Because group thinkers will lead you to the end, lead you to your cliff. Group thinking will get you killed, like communism, Marxism. All right? Because when you are a Marxist, communist, group thinker, you affect me because you try to make me to follow your own belief. All right? This is why I want people to think for themselves, not to be group thinkers. All right? Because if you like my video, please like, share, and subscribe. Because when you like, share, and subscribe, you're encouraged to make more videos. When I make more videos, I saturate YouTube algorithm. When YouTube algorithm is saturated, my video will be more expensive to a broader audience. Within this broader audience, I might enlighten them to think for themselves. And hence, incentivize me to make more videos. And I don't need any fundings because of that. Anyway, Let me know what you think. Leave a comment below. I know your time is very precious. I try not wasting your time. This is the Highly Evolved Podcast. And my name's Stefan, and you guys have a good day. Peace.